Hello, 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 and welcome to the My Empty Hands podcast, a podcast where we talk about Kempo and martial arts and just whatever else happens to come our way. I am Reggie Darden, and I have David with me today, David Duval, and we're just gonna jump in and talk some Kempo and kind of go from there. So just to kind of give a little background on my history, I started Kempo in the early to mid '90s in San Diego, California, to be more specific. So I started then and trained for about 2-3 years until almost got to my third brown when I left for the military. While I was in the military, I did a little bit of taekwondo, a little bit of hapkido, a little bit of boxing. Enjoyed the training, but still kept my love for kempo. Once I got out of the military, I then got involved in capoeira, and I've been doing that for coming up on 17 years now. Kind of going back a little bit, about 2 or 3 years ago, I started at an American Kempo school here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and just really been enjoying that journey. As of this recording, I'm currently a green belt, and just really enjoying the trip. Excited for what comes next, and that's kind of the brief rundown of my story. And as we chat, I'll interject other things that may come to mind, but that's my story. So David, if you could go ahead and fill me and the listeners in on how Kempo found you, how did you get started in martial arts, and just where did the journey begin for you?
Well, the journey began for me in Camden, New Jersey. I was 9 years old at the time. I was in William F. Powell School, and it was just one day. It was a situation for me. It wasn't really that good of a situation, but my mom and my aunt signed me up for karate. So the first karate system I've done was the Goju-Ryu system under Tony Lingo in the New Jersey Black Belt Association. Now, from there, I got my Shodan 2015, and I was about 15, 16 years old. And then I got my Nidan when I was around 17, 18 at the time. From there, I started switching to other systems. Like when I was 21, I started doing a Korean style from Korea called Tang Sudo. I did that under Daniel Glickman, and his system was the IMA Tang Sudo system. So he studied under Yi, and from there I've studied with a bunch of other friends, mainly just going to my former instructors' seminars, and I met up with my Aikido teacher. I started doing Aikido from there, and I got up to my first Q belt for black. And from there I started doing other systems, just messing around with Tai Chi and Bagua. So my first introduction to Kempo was from a very great friend. I met him when I was at least a green belt at one time. His name is George Elmer from the ACKKS. And, he wasn't my teacher or anything like that, but he showed some of the techniques that he has done.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a seminar of his a few years ago and basically taught one of my current systems of today, capoeira. And how I found capoeira was me just walking around Philadelphia, walking around Chinatown one day. It was, I think, in 2013 or so. I may be wrong. But yeah, this is how many years that I've been in martial arts and stuff like that. I have
Gotcha.
So,
Just to kind of jump back, so when you first started in the Goju-Ryu, was the impetus of that your idea, or was it a situation where it was like you were getting bullied and you needed something to get
yeah.
started in, or was it something that you asked to do, or kind of what was the trigger to get the training started?
I was bullied as a child. It'd be great for me to learn how to defend myself and what have you. So they kind of put me in the gentleman's class at Woodrow Wilson, and from there I just started going into the martial arts from there. So yeah, that's what's been happening with that is that they had to put me in something so I could learn how to defend myself.
Okay. Okay. Right on. So since even though this is a Kempo focused podcast, since we both have done other martial arts and you're actually technically the first guest to do capoeira like myself, kind of put you on the spot here. And how would you describe capoeira to someone that's not familiar with what it is?
Well, I would basically say that capoeira is a African Brazilian martial art, and it is hidden in a dance. When you see the gentlemen or the ladies, doing movements, like the Jenga, it's more disguised as a dance. So that way, because supposedly, and there was a few elements of how capoeira was invented. Some people said it was for slaves to get away from, the people that are enslaving them. Some of them said that it was created as a gimmick, to sell certain things in a market. But capoeira is more like a dance with kicks in it, occasional, like punch, back fist, or
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. Yeah, kind of as we go along and as we talk with I'm going to launch a secondary podcast focusing on capoeira, and so I will have capoeira people on the show from time to time in the future. But yeah, just to kind of throw those things in there, that's part of your journey. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So going back to the Kempo, so you still currently train Kempo now, or?
I've trained in well, here's the thing. I've trained in Kempo through a system called Effects from my teacher Joseph Rebello, and they basically utilize the brush hold strike scenario, and some of their forms are Kempo based, in a way,
Hmm.
and that's another one of my friends and teachers, Joseph Rebello. I looked at most of his videos online and seen that some of the Kempo stuff. So that's my introduction to Kempo karate.
Okay,
Is
gotcha,
looking
gotcha.
at both
Yeah,
my friends George Elmer and my friend and teacher Joseph Rebello doing the Kempo movements, and also a third friend who is a
yeah.
Kempo practitioner.
Okay, gotcha. Are there any other arts that you've trained in? So you mentioned the Goju-Ryu and the Capoeira. And,
I
what other arts have you?
I take another martial art called Shishiru, and that's like a system that was created by one of my teachers, Kevin Paret. He's done most of his stuff is Kempo based, and he's trained Kempo, Kyokushin, and some other systems of martial arts.
Okay. So since you've had kind of such a eclectic mix of arts, is what would you say would be kind of the reasoning behind trying different arts? Was there something that maybe you were looking to fill, or you just were just interested in just trying, kind of whatever came along? Like what pushed the drive to kind of go to these different systems?
It was mostly friends in the martial arts who I've seen in a time span. Like every time we go to a tournament, I'm always seeing them. Every time I'm looking at their forms, I'm like, that's beautiful. I want to learn that. So it's kind of like cross training and training with friends and what have you in the martial arts.
Gotcha. Is there? I guess it would be kind of like a picking your favorite child, but do you have kind of a favorite system, or you just are content with combining the different ones, or training the cross training, or
I
is
love the
there?
martial arts equally because from a time in my life, it kept me out of trouble. It kept me focused. It kept me busy. So if it was Taekwondo, I would train Taekwondo. If it was Capoeira, I train Capoeira. If it was Goju, I train Goju. If it's Kempo, I'm gonna be training Kempo. I just love it all equally because it kept me in check in life. I didn't, I wasn't that much of a problem child. You know,
Gotcha.
I was just, martial arts, and my parents knew where I was. So
Hmm.
it's all of it's beautiful.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, are you just kind of focused on the self defense side of it, or have you done competed in tournaments or anything like that?
I've focused on the self defense, and I've also competing in tournaments. I've won trophies in front of me. I got one, two, three, five grand champions. I've won in a tournament,
Very nice, very nice. And
which is a big shocker to me because I thought I would never do it.
yeah, no,
I
we
thought I
get to
would.
surprise ourselves sometimes. So.
Yes. So that's kind of like the thing. I've competed in tournaments. I've won first. I've won second. I've won third. I've won nothing sometimes, but I still took that opportunity to train. For that.
And these, I'm guessing this was in sparring, or did you do forms or weapons, or?
I can say forms and weapons. I've came for grand. Sparring is a different type of animal. Like I've won third. I've won second. I haven't really won that first for sparring just yet.
Hmm.
And I can be humble enough to say that.
Okay.
I mean, still, with the losses of sparring, I still learn.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm of the mind that yeah, you learn more from your mistakes and from the losses than you do the wins and the perfect moment. So yeah, it's important to get both sides. So
Yes.
yeah, I like that.
There was a point in my life that I've seen people in tournaments, and I'm on the outside looking in. I wish I didn't do it, but I said it. I was like, yeah, man, that guy has a light. Oh, and I could take him on. And then a conversation with my big sister Beth in the martial arts to tell me, listen, put up or shut up. Go out there and do it, or just stand there and be quiet. And I learned from that. You know,
Hmm.
I still, she's one of my biggest inspirations in the martial arts. I met her when I was 9. I was a white belt with a bowl cut. She was a purple belt who just came back from the military.
Hmm.
She was in the United States Navy.
Okay.
She's taught me more in the martial arts. When I was under that organization, you know, any man taught me. You
Hmm.
know, so she was like that big sister molding her little brother.
Hmm.
That's what I like about the martial arts is that people like her molded me and got me ready for my other, situations of training.
Hmm.
So, and now I get to pass that torch on and take somebody and mold them, but they have to be in the martial arts.
So yeah, I was gonna ask about that. So um, you're teaching, yeah, you're teaching as well. I
Yes.
would assume, or
Yes.
like, okay. And
It's a challenge. It's a challenge, but at some point, now knowing what I know today, when the people in front of me were teaching me, they were up for that challenge too. So it's just best that, I be up for the challenge too. I teach adults and children, and when and for me, it's important to work with them when they mess up. It's important for me to make them repeat some of the things that they have done wrong so that way they won't create the habits doing that same movement.
gotcha. So jumping back to kind of the competition side. So since you've had a lot of different kind of experience there, has getting into like the MMA field, has that been of any interest to you, or have you done any kind of MMA or have any aspirations to
I
do anything
have an
like that?
aspiration to do it. I haven't did some serious training for it. I've went through at least 2 MMA classes in my recent. One of the current styles I'm doing is Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I've been tapped out.
Hmm.
But that's the only thing I've done so far. It's like right near MMA and taking up that 1 or 2 MMA classes.
Hmm.
It's some, I'm still.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like it. I've taken a BJJ class here and there. It's not really my cup of tea, so to speak. Or at least at this current point, I'm not really looking to, you know, study it full time and, you know, work for the black belt and all that stuff. I would like to get a little bit more, you know, ground and grappling, you know, experience. Just, you know, so I can, you know, add it to my toolbox.
Yeah, that's why I did it. I didn't really do it just to get a blue or purple or brown or anything like that. I just did it because at some point,
I think you know, you're kind of in the same boat. You want to have those items to, you know, to be able to call upon if you need it. But you know, that's maybe not your core system, so to speak, but just something else to, you know, like me. You know, you're a big fan of the arts and just want to kind of absorb everything that is available, and so I can certainly relate to that. So, you know, so now that you've kind of done a lot of this kind of different training, is there maybe something, you know, a style or a system or a teacher or something that maybe that you want to do that you haven't done?
a system called Lima.
Yes, yes, familiar with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's a rare martial art. So
very nice. Yeah, yeah. My original school, we had a little bit of a taste of some of their techniques. So yeah, that's a good system to get involved with. So yeah,
okay.
hope that you get to fulfill that dream and get that get that very nice. Very nice. So looking back at the instructing part of it, so I would, you know, do you have any kind of aspirations for opening your own school, and if so, would it be a combination of all the different arts, or would you want to just kind of focus on, you know, one or two, or, you know, kind of keep them separate, or kind of blend them?
Yeah, I will most definitely keep them separate. As far as opening up my own school, that's something I would love to do. Because but right now, I just am thankful that I can teach. In the place that I do capoeira, because I teach at my capoeira school.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
so I teach whenever I'm called to do capoeira. I teach capoeira, and whenever that class is done, I teach karate, and then you know that's about it.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. I like that. It's usually kind of the other way around. It's usually the capoeira teachers are teaching in the karate school. So it's fun for me to hear it kind of flipped in that
Yeah,
instance. Very cool. Very cool. So in your time, all of your time training, is there are things that you see maybe that you would like where do you kind of see the future of, let's kind of, you know, focus on Kempo, where do you kind of see that heading, where would you like to see that go, like what kind of direction, and just kind of what observations have you kind of come across in your time in your
I would I would like to do somewhat kempo karate, but not like I'm not an expert or a teacher
hmm.
of kempo, but I would like to in the future see me have a better understanding of it, so I can present it more better and have conversations with people of kempo. Because at some point, I've seen that at the last event I was at, they were all talking about kempo and what have you, and I was like, wow, should I dive in there? Should I not dive in that conversation? Because if I do, I don't want to, like slip on that banana peel and be like, oh.
Gotcha.
So thank God I got a few friends to guide me along the way.
Yeah, no, I would say, you know, definitely uh, reach out to those, you know, the elders in Kempo that, you know, affects us all, and you know, unfortunately, you know, yeah, we're losing some of the, you know, the OGs, as
Yes.
we like to say. So yeah, I would say, you know, definitely reach it. You know, if you have desire and that hunger to learn and to know more and to get deeper into it, definitely reach out to those folks.
Yeah.
It's
I
one of
just
the reasons why I started this podcast, is to be able to talk to some of those people while they're still with us. So I would definitely give that advice to not be shy. They put on their uniform one leg at a time, just like we do.
just like
So
us. Yeah.
uh,
I was blessed to have my effects teacher send me some Thai videos.
mhm.
You know, I don't know if you're familiar with the system of Thai.
Yeah, David German, yeah, the
Yes,
Thai.
and some of that stuff Kempo based as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, you sent me some videos on this, and then I'm hearing some like one or two people in Jersey say, oh yeah, David German. I was like, yeah, I got some of his videos to my teacher,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they tell me, they're like, yo, keep those things as treasures because yeah, that's a rarity.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. I believe you're a little bit younger than me, but yeah, showing my age. There were the Panther production VHS back in the day, and
Yeah,
we would.
I think I still have a VHS copy of the Three Section Staffs,
Oh,
Panther
very nice,
production. And I think I have the Panther production DVD on Capoeira.
very nice. Yeah, with Messer and Man. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Who, Capoeira sidebar here, but I actually met Messer and Man a number of times, and got to work with him. Gosh, I guess it was a few months ago, and he helped me out with a ladaina I wrote. So I was overjoyed on that, and we won't get
yeah,
into what all that is here on this podcast.
yeah.
So, you know,
My Latanina was easy. When I got to Formado, they told me, I was like, yeah, make a Latanina. And I just said, well, play Capoeira for life, play Capoeira with friends, play Capoeira.
very nice, very nice. Yeah, no, as long as it's from the heart, and
Yes.
then yeah, it doesn't. You can say whatever you're feeling, and um, yeah, that was kind of the inspiration for mine. But we'll talk about that on another show. So not to confuse all our Kempo folk, but yeah, no, I definitely like that. But yeah, going back to the Panther production videos, yeah, there
Yeah.
was a David German video that really stuck out to me, where was the Kempo Jiu Jitsu connection, and he was mixing a lot of the jiu-jitsu arm locks and wrist locks and such with Kempo,
Hmm.
and I'm just really connected to that and really enjoying that, because I've always seen Kempo as really a real good base for connecting with other arts. It just really kind of doesn't really matter kind of the art. Kempo really just fits in well,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I really enjoyed the kind of the jiu-jitsu part. I really like wrist locks and arm bars and throws and things like that. So to
And
see
actually,
those combined with Kempo, I mean, Kempo already has a lot of that, but
yeah.
to just see how it just really easily fits in with a jiu-jitsu or a hapkido, or really any art, I've really enjoyed that.
And actually, Nindo-Ryu Goshin Jitsu is they have like Kempo type movement in there.
Hmm.
Also Goshin Jiu-Jitsu as well. So
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of cross pollination and connections among the different arts, and you look around enough, and yeah, you see the similarities, and you see where people kind of had the same ideas, or maybe they were cross training and said, hey, this works good, let me incorporate that. And that's one of the great things about Kempo, is that it continually evolves, and it continues to change, and allows each individual to really fit that to works best for them. So once again, it's a great art to be a part of. So really like that. So just kind of going through kind of the different arts. Look at doing with the weapons, or is that have you done a lot of weapons work, or is that something that
Nindaru Kobujutsu. It usually, has stuff to do with the bow, the nunti bow, basically the Okinawan weapons.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite weapon, or one that you prefer?
My favorite weapon that's been seen all around and people have seen it thousands of times is actually my first weapon, the bow. And my favorite rare exotic weapon is the teko, which are the knuckle dusters.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the bow or staff. That's probably my favorite one. I kind of feel it's very practical. There's a lot of things in the real world that can substitute for that. So I feel that's always a good. Yeah, I really like that. Very nice. So let's kind of move towards our kind of lightning round questions here. First one being, do you have a favorite technique?
Or
I would say probably focused on Kempo, but if it's not a Kempo technique, then that's fine too. Right? Whatever might be your favorite, or maybe a couple of your favorite ones.
Back fist to a spinning back kick.
Very nice. I like it.
Spinning wheel kick.
Yeah, those are always fun to do. Do you have a favorite form and/or set?
For my tournament form, Unsu.
And is that a kind of what system?
Shotokan.
Is it okay? Shotokan. Okay, very nice. Okay. If there was anyone that you could train with, living or dead, fictional or non-fictional, who would you want to train with?
Train with Mark DeCastros today.
Very nice. Yeah.
Just to see if his capoeira is polished up. I've seen that movie, Only the Strong, and I'm like, okay, just to be respectful, But I would love to train with them. Also, a fictional Eddie Gordo.
Yes, very nice. Yes, from the Tekken video games, for those that may not be familiar, but yeah, those are good ones. All right, and then so the kind of last question, and this is the hardest of them all. Do you, in honor of Ed Parker's love for jokes and humor, do you have a joke and/or a humorous story that you'd like to share?
It's like a joke or
just a joke or a humorous story. So my jokes are not exactly appropriate for this podcast, so I won't share one of those.
I do have a. It's not a joke or humorous story, but I like some of the catchphrases in Kempo. Whatever the move, theory, concept, principle, definition, there's an opposite and a reverse.
Very good. Yeah. No, that's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, I like that one because when I'm working with some of the weapons and or I'm working with anything, I'm like, I usually the technique or in an opposite way and get a result. Sometimes it's not the result I want, but I could work to that result.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, it just kind of dawned on me that since I kind of started adding that into my little set of questions here, I don't believe I've provided one of my own. So I will throw this little kind of story out in that. So at the school that I train at, we part of when we do our belt test is that we have to come up with 3 facts about Ed Parker, and if we're testing with other people, we have to come up with a fact that not someone else has already said. And on one of my tests, gosh, I believe it was probably on my purple belt test, I think. I one of the pieces of trivia that I came up with was that the rock star Billy Idol was a big fan of Kempo, and that had a bodyguard of his at one point in time. And my instructor was like, no, that's not correct, because everybody brings up that Ed Parker was a bodyguard of Elvis, and trained with Elvis. And so he's like, no, you're thinking of Elvis. I was like, no, I'm 100% sure that I'm talking about Billy Idol. So there were the other instructors were kind of looking it up, and sure enough, they found a picture of Billy Idol, and on Billy Idol's guitar, he has Ed Parker's the Kempo crest on his guitar. He's had it that way for a long time. And so my instructor then was like, in the 30 plus years that he's been teaching, no one has ever given that answer before. So we had a nice kind of little laugh about that. And every test since then, when we get to the point of where I need to provide some trivia about Ed Parker, my instructor makes quick to say, well, come up with something, but you can't use the Billy Idol thing. And
what was it? Was it the universal symbol, or was it the Kempo?
The American Kempo, the American Kempo crest. Yeah, if you look up Billy Idol, you'll see that he's got the Kempo crest on his guitar. So yeah, I was pretty proud of that, but unfortunately, I can't use it on my test anymore.
Use it no more. That's like going into a Street Fighter competition. You can't use Sagat.
Yeah. So, but I will try and find. I'm always on the lookout for other fun pieces of trivia. So hopefully I can come up with another one through all my talks with people and through all my research. Hopefully I'll get another one that I can stump him with on a future test. Fingers crossed there. So I thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat with me and tell me about your story. Now is the time for shameless self-promotion. So if there's anything that you wanted to bring up that maybe we hadn't touched on, now is your chance to say whatever you like, and then we'll close out.
All right, cool. Once again, thanks for having me. If anybody is in the Capoeira, it's on 1213th Ray Street, and we're open Monday through Saturday, 6:30 to 7, sometimes 6:30 to 8, depending on the Hoda and how that branches out. We're there.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. Thank you again for your time, and can't wait to get this out and let the listeners hear it. And just thank you again for your time.
Hey man, thanks for having me, man. This is my very first podcast that I've ever did, so
right on. Well,
don't mind me being corny and all that.
No, can't get more corny than me. So we're doing great. But yeah, we'll definitely have to chat again. Especially when I do the Capoeira show. We'll have to get in the weeds and really talk about that.
All right, thanks a lot.
You.
All right, man.
Thank you for listening to My Empty Hands. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with a friend. If you didn't enjoy it, please share it with an enemy. If you'd like to be a guest, or if you would like to recommend a guest for the show, please email me at podcast@talkingkempo.com. Thank you.